simply made the draw, if you want to call it a draw, the pairing, if you like, as simple as this. It'll be Waterford and Clare. They didn't meet in Munster, and it'll be Tip and Kilkenny. Gentlemen, looking at those two matches, let's talk about Clare first, obviously, as a result of today's game. That should be some interesting match between themselves and Waterford because their styles of play. Yeah,
I mean, you've got 3 Munster teams back in the semi-finals again,
sure.
Right? So, I think Clare themselves today will come on a step further, right? They found a few new players again in Conor Plunkett today. They showed very good touches in the back line. I thought the forwards struggled at times, particularly the full forward line. I think the Galway full back line were absolutely superb today, and they struggle in there. So they may be changes up there. But again, Waterford probably have the disadvantage now. They've been without a competitive match now for a while.
Sure.
The momentum now has swung in Clare's favour because they've had Wexford, they now have had Galway, and also when you're winning and there's a freshness about you, and there's a feel-good factor about the team as well. So it's probably swinging in Clare's direction at this stage. But Waterford, if they can produce that performance that they gave in the Munster final against Tipperary, will take an awful lot of stopping as well.
How would they beat the entire country put together if they can reproduce that? How do you see Michael Dignan?
Over the last few weeks, I started getting a feeling for Clare. I just when I saw them against Wexford, they just looked like a team that's improving. And looking at their players, the 4 or 5 lads who are probably this is the end of the road for them. They're not going to get another chance to win All Ireland, and I think they're going to be extremely hungry. And they're a very, very tough team. It all depends really on Waterford when they come up to Croke Park. They had the experience there in '98, and had a couple of matches up there, and were disappointed they didn't go further. So now they have their chance again, and they have some outstanding individual players. If they produce the form of the Munster final, great. But to come up to Croke Park and do that, Clare maybe have more experience again of the big day. So I'd probably stick with Clare in that one.
And the other game, Tomas?
Well, I mean, on the basis of what you saw today, Michael, you say Kilkenny would be fancying themselves against Tipperary, but if you were looking at it from a Tipperary viewpoint, it's probably the best preparation they could ever get going into an Ireland semi-final. So many doubts about some of the performances today, just maybe scraping home against Antrim, I mean, in the last 10 minutes, and it is the ideal preparation. They will have to go back to the drawing board. I still think they have problems at number 6, as I said earlier today, and that problem will have to be addressed.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your thoughts on all of that. Almost time for us to wrap up here on our Sunday game live action for the moment. Just a reminder of the results of the day then in our 2 hurling quarter-finals. Tip and Antrim, the first game, turned out to be a much tighter game. I know the scoreline doesn't reflect that at the end, but if you saw that game, you'll know it was close all through. Tip coming good in the end, though. And then the Clare-Galway match, well, you saw that for yourselves. The 1-point win for Clare then puts them into the semi-finals. Now, this was the result of the minor match. That was a win for Galway, and that against Cork at 2-10 to 2-6, the final score in that match. So Galway go home with something from today's efforts at Croke Park. Now, this is the lineup for our nighttime programme.